We all use AI, right? We expect it to be this powerful, all-knowing assistant. But what happens when that assistant just lies to you? Not because it's evil, but because it's literally just making things up. Well, welcome to the very strange and very risky world of AI hallucinations, where the line between fact and fiction is getting blurrier every day. And as one lawyer found out, the consequences can be absolutely disastrous.
So picture this, you're a lawyer, and your client's entire case rests on your shoulders. You turn to a powerful new AI for some legal research, and it spits out what looks like a masterpiece, a legal brief just packed with precedent-setting cases. There's just one tiny problem. None of the cases are real. The AI just invented them. And no, this is not some sci-fi plot. This actually happened, and it sent shockwaves through the entire legal world.
Yeah, that true story has a name. Mana versus Avianca. It's already become the cautionary tale for any profession that deals with facts. It's a perfect and kind of terrifying example of what happens when we put blind faith in AI in a high-stakes situation.
So you're probably asking, how on earth did this happen? Well, the law firm used ChatGPT to help them find legal precedents to support their client. The AI did exactly what it was asked and gave them a whole list of cases that sounded totally legitimate. So they put them in their brief and filed it with the court. The problem was when the judge and the opposing lawyers looked at it, they were like, wait a second, we've never heard of these cases. And that's because they were complete fictions. They never happened.
And if you're thinking, okay, that's one embarrassing mistake, you'd be wrong. This wasn't just a one-off thing. A new database that's tracking this problem has already found more than 120 court cases that included AI-generated fictions. It points to this really disturbing trend of people relying way too heavily on a technology that, let's be honest, we don't fully understand yet.
Okay, so we've seen the damage this can do. But let's back up for a second. What are we actually talking about here? What does it even mean for an AI to hallucinate? Let's nail down a definition.
Basically, an AI hallucination is when the model just makes stuff up. It's not trying to lie to you, not really. It's just that its entire purpose is to generate text that sounds plausible. So when it runs into a question where it doesn't have the answer in its training data, instead of just saying, I don't know, it fills in the gap with what it predicts should go there. It's an educated guess, but it presents it as a hard fact.
Now, the researchers have kind of broken this down into two main flavors. First, there's an intrinsic hallucination. This is when you give the AI a document and ask it to summarize it, but it gets some of the facts wrong. It's annoying for sure, but then there's the much more dangerous type, extrinsic hallucination. And that's exactly what happened in the Avianca case. The AI didn't just misread a real court case, it invented completely fake ones out of thin air.
And look, this isn't just a problem for lawyers. It's a fundamental challenge for any field where getting the facts right is, important. And another huge one is software development.
Yeah, we're not just talking about bad legal advice. It's about whether we can trust AI with anything critical. Take coding. A huge study by the cybersecurity firm Veracode found that an absolutely staggering 45% of code written by AI tools has security flaws in it. It's the exact same core issue, the AI confidently spitting out a flawed answer, but here it's creating massive security risks for pretty much any company building software right now.
I mean, just look at this chart. It's almost a 50-50 shot whether the code an AI gives you is secure or not. That's insane. If you're a developer and you just trust this stuff without double-checking it, you are literally building security backdoors directly into your own products. So why is this happening? Why is the AI so bad at this?
Well, it boils down to a few key things. First, the AI learns by reading a giant chunk of the internet, including tons of public code that's already full of vulnerabilities. It learns from bad examples. Second, it has zero context for what you're building. It doesn't know your company's security rules. And finally, it's just a pattern-matching machine. It isn't actually thinking like a security engineer about how data is flowing through an app. It's just mimicking what it's seen before.
Okay, so the problem is big, it's clear, and it's kind of scary. But of course, the tech industry is already saying, hey, don't worry, we have a solution. That solution is called retrieval augmented generation, or what everybody in the biz just calls RAG.
And honestly, the best way to understand RAG is with a simple analogy, a school test. A standard AI, like the one those lawyers used, is taking a closed-book exam. It can only use the facts that were crammed into its brain during its training. But an AI using RAG gets to take an open-book exam. Before it answers your question, it's allowed to look up the facts in a specific trusted database, like a private library of real court cases.
The process itself is actually pretty simple. First, you ask the AI a question. Then the system goes and searches its trusted private knowledge base, not the whole internet, for the right documents. And finally, and this is the most important part, it generates its answer using only the information from those documents it just found. In theory, that should ground the AI in reality and stop it from just making things up.
Now, that sounds like a perfect fix, right? Problem solved. Well, that is certainly what the companies selling these new RAG-powered tools want you to believe. But you knew there was a but coming. A group of researchers at Stanford University decided to put those bold claims to the test.
And I mean, just look at this marketing copy. This is from LexisNexis, a huge name in legal tech. They are making a very direct promise, 100% hallucination-free. That's not a subtle claim. They're telling the world they have completely solved the problem. But is that true?
Well, the Stanford study found that even with RAG, the top legal AI tools still hallucinated more than 17% of the time. Now, to be clear, that is a massive improvement over the standard models, but it is a very, very long way from 100% hallucination-free. A 1 in 5 chance of being wrong is not a risk you can afford to take when someone's future is on the line.
This chart really tells the story. On the one hand, a general model like GPT-4 hallucinates on legal questions a whopping 69% of the time. It's almost always wrong. The RAG tools from LexisNexis and Thomson Reuters are clearly much better, down in the 17 to 21% range. But better does not mean perfect. And to really understand why RAG isn't a silver bullet, we need to get a little more specific about what counts as a hallucination.
The Stanford researchers introduced these two really critical ideas. First is correctness. That's simple. Is the statement the AI made factually true in the real world? But then there's groundedness. This is more subtle. It asks, does the source the AI cited actually support the statement it made? Because an AI can tell you a true fact, but then cite a completely irrelevant source. And that's an incredibly sneaky and dangerous type of error. This matrix from their study shows all the different ways things can go wrong. The only good outcome is in that top left box, accurate, meaning the answer is both correct and properly grounded in its source. Everything else is a problem. If an answer is incorrect, it's a hallucination, full stop. But look at the top row, in the middle. Even a correct statement is considered a hallucination if it's misgrounded, meaning it cites the wrong source to back up a true claim. This is the subtle trap of these advanced RAG systems. What this all reveals is a constant, difficult balancing act that all AI models have to perform. For any question, they're facing what's called a trilemma. They can give a correct answer, they can refuse to answer, or they can hallucinate. And as you can see here, as the questions get harder, the green bar, the correct answers, shrinks, while the chance of the AI refusing or just making something up goes way up. Getting rid of hallucinations isn't a simple switch you can just flip. It's a deep, fundamental challenge.
So, if even our most advanced solution can't fix this today, what does the future look like? When are we actually going to be able to trust these tools?
You know, this quote really puts things in perspective. It's from Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, the company that makes the chips that power this entire AI revolution. If anyone knows the real state of this tech, it's him. And his sober assessment is that we're still several years away from having an AI that we can largely trust. It's just a stark reminder that despite all the breathless hype, the fundamental work here is far from finished.
And that really leaves us with this final question. We're constantly being told that AI is here to help us, to make us better, faster, smarter. But as we've seen, it's still a deeply flawed tool, one that can confidently make up facts out of thin air. So for now, the answer to who helps us when the AI is wrong is pretty simple. We do. It's on us. Human oversight, critical thinking, and a healthy dose of skepticism are more important now than they have ever been.